but everybody said, oh, this is us. They locked me up and say, oh, this is us, we represent that. You know, I'm important on that, and maybe, and then they'll want to make their little decision, and they'll say, let me get in there. Because everybody wants in there first. You know how that goes.
Do you ever think about Sharon Tate and the people that were killed that night?
No, not that much. Why should I? A lot of people get killed. People get killed all over the world every day.
Do you feel any responsibility for what happened that night?
None.
You feel no remorse for what happened that night?
How am I going to feel remorse? What am I supposed to feel remorse about? Everyone says, you feel no remorse. I said, can't you understand I'm not guilty of anything? And they said, well, you're supposed to feel remorse. I'm supposed to feel remorse because you don't understand, because you're twisted in your brain? You know, in other words, someone comes in and says, you were in New York City last night. And you said, no, I wasn't. And they said, well, don't you feel bad about it? You said, feel bad about what? Said that people that happened in New York City. Man, I wasn't in New York City. I wasn't there. I was in San Diego in bed with some broad I'd met in Big Sur. I didn't have no family. I had a motorcycle, a sleeping bag, and a guitar, guy. I just got out of the penitentiary. I hadn't been out of jail long enough they say, well, you got our kids to do this and our kids. You had your kids to do that. Your kids were doing that before I got out of the penitentiary. I just got out of jail. Can't you understand that? You know, you tell the people something, and they've got their minds made up a certain way. You dig what I'm saying? And you tell them something, and they just don't know. What am I supposed to feel remorse about? Do you feel remorse that every day of my life you tormented me with these idiots that you got holding me down? That you beat me and knocked my jaw out, you forced me medication, you've drugged me up down hallways, you hit my head on every chopping block in the state of California. You've poisoned me, you've done everything. I've puked blood for months and days, man. You've done everything you could do to get me killed, and then you turn around and ask me, do I have any remorse? If I have the right to do to you what you've been doing to me, then that gives me the right to do anything I want to, anyone I want to do it to. Can you see now? Well, you better give me my rights. Because as you're doing this to me, you're doing this to all these children, and they're all these cells, and they're growing up just like you're raising them up with no rights. And even the guys in the uniforms are looking at it and saying, what am I doing this for? Why am I cheating this guy? He's got no money. Why don't I go up the hill and take the money away? You know, if you give DuPont the same right you give me, you can put DuPont in the cell and take everything he's got. Take his children, rape his women, drag him up and down the highway. Everything's okay when it comes to doing it to Charlie. And Charlie's been carrying it. And Charlie knows in the background that when the wave comes in, the wave goes out. And each time the wave comes in, the wave goes out. And you're all going to get the reflection in the mirror that you put in this child here. And it's got nothing to do with me helping you, because I'm gone from you people, man. I'm out in the desert. I'm doing what I'm doing. The only people I would be helping, I'll help Squeaky. And I put my life up to protect her, even though I know she's the devil. I'd help Blue. I'd help Green. And I'd help Yellow. And I would help all the girls that got busted with me, because they know me in the thought of this. All of the guys in my father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not true, I would not have told you so. And it's just as true then as it is true now, as it will be true forever and ever and ever. I don't care what the Christians say. Jesus Christ is a reality.
So you feel loyalty to certain people, people who you feel have stood by you?
Sure, the people that tell me the truth, I'm bound to tell them the truth back. The people that have treated me right, I am bound to treat them right back. The people that have not treated me right, the Holy Ghost will deal with that.
Why do you say Squeaky Fromm is the devil?
Because all women are. They have to be to survive.
Men aren't?
Sure, men are too. Sure, we have both. We hold both balances.
Women are worse?
I would say, yeah. I would say, well, if you get Mama Lion is very vicious. The Queen of England has never lost a war. Woman woman has the power. Woman sends these guys to work every day. Woman puts it on the road. She has the will, plus the supermarket. I have the reality of numbers, and I have the fishing pole. I have other things, but see, the games that you guys play with your woman and man thing, we don't play that man-woman thing. You know, you guys are all hung up in them soap operas. They're killing themselves over crazy things that really, you know, it doesn't mean anything. When you peak the peak and you touch the ultimate, then you walk with the ultimate in your soul forever, man. You know, and you can't put a personality on that. You can't say, well, I'll now pronounce you man and wife, you know, and all that thing that was somewhere else, because the rebirth movement that I started, don't go back and pick up the same old shit. Excuse my French. You don't go back and pick up the same old trash can. You start all over. And starting all over means starting all over. And when you start all over, it's a constant rebirth thing. And it's not going back to Sunday school or with Swagger or Baker or the Pope or the rope soap. That's all dead. That's all old game. That's all graveyard game. You know that Jesus was a reality. He died so I could live. I'm not going to miss out on that. I'm getting up on that train too. That doesn't mean that I live by a bunch of foolish rules, that a bunch of old people are left by old people that left by old people that... Because let me run something to you. What it took Jesus Christ 2,000 years to do, in thought, in word, in deed, you can do now with television in 2 or 3 months. You see what I'm saying? And what the Constitution and the people that founded this country in 1776 did, you know, like the government's got 9 Supreme Court justices for 20 million people in the 1800s. Man, you got 250 million people. That's like a fat woman, 500 pounds, trying to get into a size 10 dress. The government's not working. The system is not working, and they won't admit it. They think building more prisons is the solution. Building more prisons just add more confusion to the problem that's already at hand. You know?
Charlie, what would you do if you wanted to... Is there anything at all that you would change about your life?
Yeah, I would have planted them other trees. You know, I'm just as stupid as anybody else. I'm no smarter than anybody. I'm no better than anybody. But nobody's better than me either. You know, you could ask that question to yourself, I guess. You know, I don't have any regrets. I don't. You know, it's foolish to regret and think about something that it doesn't change. You know, you can't change anything anyway. I mean, how are you going to change yesterday? Yesterday's gone. You let it go, man. You don't hang on to it and drag it down the road in a sack. You know, I mean, that's part of changing the lifestyle.
What about Helter Skelter?
That's the district attorney's illusion. That's his trick. That's a reflection of his fear, his sex paranoia, all the games that... But he won that reality for you guys. When he said, I versus the people versus the people that he represented, he won Helter Skelter as a reality for those people. But that's got nothing to do with me. Helter Skelter was a nightclub in the desert. That's where I run a poker game, and I shoot dice. And I make money and I ride around in do buggies. It's funny, they say, you're going to the desert. I said, I was going to the desert? I said, LA's in the middle of the desert. What's wrong with you, dummy? He said, you were going to the desert? How can I be going to where I'm in a conspiracy to go to where I'm standing? You know, it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, it makes sense to you people. Helter Skelter is a simple, just confusion. That's been happening. Let me run something to you. You go to jail, the music's going, da-ba-da, da-da-da. You go to jail. It stops. And you're in jail 10 or 15 years. You get back out, and the music's going, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then you go to jail again. And everything stops. And you get back out. You go to jail again. You come back out and they go. You say, wow, people are going crazy out there, man. Your minds, I don't know how your brains can keep up with all that, you know. Gee whiz, man, you know. So it's the same thing with your dancing. And you're walking back and forwards. And you're living of your every ordinary life. And I see why your children are all committing suicide and going crazy, man. Because, gee, How you know, because you're running in a crazy world. You got a crazy life going on out there, you know. So you ask me if I want to get back out in that? I haven't been able to get to the penitentiary yet. I've been 18 years trying to get to jail. I was in the penitentiary, and I got out, and I come back, and I haven't been able to find the penitentiary yet. You know, the penitentiary seems to have gone. They moved it somewhere. And this is another thing. Isn't it funny while you would get Amnesty International to take millions of dollars from the United States to help prisoners out of jail in other countries, when you got political prisoners right here in the United States that you're overlooking, that you won't accept? You got people all over this country that are in here for political reasons. But you want to make us criminals and crime and say we're all crooks.